Kristina Mendoza.
Hi.
Hi, finally we
I
got you
know.
on. You kept canceling on us, but I know because you're a busy woman.
Yes. And I'm
But
not a big podcaster, but
well,
you
you're
guys
gonna
are
become one
special.
because you are a special one.
Yes,
But
exclusive.
we're so excited to have you on, not only because you are a dear friend of us, but you're also one of the most iconic new faces of the
Aw,
modern bodybuilding, female bodybuilding.
girl.
I think that at least from gathering all the names of people that people wanted to see on the podcast, I think your name came up like 10 times.
Oh, that's awesome. It's weird to think that, but
Yeah,
that's
because
great.
you're a humble woman. But I'm so excited to have you here and actually get to explore a little bit more, not only your bodybuilding life, but also a little bit about you in general and your beginnings. I think that Chelsea and we always ask the same question, right? Chelsea's like, how did you get to become who you are now? And of course, where do you see yourself in a couple of years from now? So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in bodybuilding.
Beginning. So throughout high school, I was always, well, not even high school, just like since I can remember gymnastics, my mom would put me in like ballet, dance, cheerleading. So then, like, throughout high school, I did cheerleading and dance. That's where I was mostly active in. And then, of course, after high school, I did a little bit of like at the time, well, I did auditions for like the Marlins Mermaids. It was like the cheerleading team for the Marlins. And I made it all the way to the finals. So we performed at like the Hard Rock. But it's funny because I didn't get selected because I was too muscular. I didn't even, I barely even like
Probably the
had
only
muscles
time
really
that you were
back
like,
then.
damn it.
Yeah, it was just my legs were too muscular, I guess. And I look back at pictures and I'm like, that's insane because they're probably like twice the size now. After that, I didn't have dance or cheer or anything active to do, so I kind of just got a little chunky. And I was like, all right, I gotta do something. So I had like a friend. She told me she had this really cool like private gym. Starting off, I think we're all like intimidated to go to the gym. We don't really know what to do. We might be out of shape. So I was like, and people don't realize, but I'm kind of like shy a little bit, right? Until I get to know you, and then I'm not so shy. But in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, I have like, my wall up and I'm a little shy. So she was like, I have this private gym, really cool guy. Come check it out with me. So I went. On the very first day, he was like, holy shit, you have the shape and genetics for bodybuilding. And I was like, okay. So I started training there. I actually enjoyed it. He had like hip hop music. It was just private sessions. So I started getting more involved in that. I would eventually go to bodybuilding shows and I did love the atmosphere, but I just wasn't for me. I was someone that like he had to force me to train upper body at first because I only wanted to do lower body. So
That's
he was
crazy
like,
because you love training upper
I
body
love
now.
upper body now. It's my favorite. So he showed me, he kind of taught me that like the girls assume like you're gonna get bulky if you train or blah blah blah. And he's like the only way you get bulky is if you're fat. You're bulky now. We're
Yeah.
trying to tone you up, lean you down, muscle, which is actually gonna shape your physique even more. So I started doing upper body, and then of course I fell in love with it. And I think it was maybe 2.5 years, give or take, after I like started weight training that I was like, okay, I'm now interested. Let's see what we can do. Let's do a show. Now, the only problem was I was kind of like in a weird physique at the time because there wasn't wellness. So I was really bottom heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but just very small at top. So we thought we were going to do figure. I put on some heels and they were like, your legs are just massive, compared to, and even so compared to your upper body. Figure is really all about shape and symmetry and balance. So
Mm-hmm.
that just wasn't, yeah, it wasn't going to go in my favor. I had no lats at the time. So the only next thing was to do was women's physique.
Okay.
I had started, that was in 2015. I did like a whole year of just training for my first show. So
I
my
think that was the
first,
first year of women's physique. Maybe second.
No, I think there was already like maybe Juliana was already Olympia, like
Okay.
maybe
It came
two
out in
times, something like that.
2013, I think.
Yeah,
2013
okay,
was the
so it was
Okay, I
first
already
get
in
you.
for
competed.
like 3 years. It was already in for 3 years when I then competed. So totally forgot what I was saying for a second.
How you started competing in
So
women's
there was,
physique.
yeah, there
Yes,
was no wellness, women's
the only
physique.
next thing was women's physique.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started training upper body even more,
Mm-hmm.
to try to put on some size. It was about a year that I took to train for that show. I jumped in and I actually went up my first show. I went up against
Evie.
yeah, Evie. I forget her last name because I suck at names. Evie,
Yeah.
that's where I met her, and she's funny because I think she had already competed a few times, so she looked great already as she was. But she was like, I was looking at you backstage, and I was like, oh crap, she looks good.
Who is she?
Yeah, who is she? So we competed. It was a Diana Classic.
Okay.
She was a bodybuilder herself, a female bodybuilder
Mm-hmm.
herself. Such a great show. Unfortunately, they don't have it anymore.
Was it in Florida?
It was in Miami, Florida. It was freaking awesome. It was actually a really big lineup for women's physique. So it was a great first experience. I think there was like, it sounds little, but nowadays it's even less. I think it was like maybe 10 of us on stage at an NPC show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I looked back at pictures the other day, and guess who competed in that same show? Chris Bumstead.
Really?
That's
Yes, I
cool.
was like, what the heck? And also Terrence. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys know.
wow.
Yeah. So I was like, this is crazy. So
That's
that's where I first
awesome.
started. After that first show, I absolutely loved the stage. I'm a performer, so I feel like I was able to get that adrenaline, rush that I would get from like competitions of cheerleading and dance and stuff like that. So that's always been like my strong part is kind of like, even though my posing was terrible,
I think we
back
always
then there
started like
wasn't
that.
really posing coaches. It was kind of like go on YouTube, kind of figure it out and strike a pose. But
That's
I
funny.
always kind of had like the flow. So people even then were like, oh my God, your posing looks so great. And I look back and I'm like, no, I didn't. But anywho, that's where that first started. And then after that first show, I was already qualified for nationals, but I decided not to do it because I wasn't ready yet. And I think people nowadays, I feel like everyone's in a rush. Like, I'm qualified, I'm going to go right into it, which is, I mean, if you're ready, you're ready. But I knew I still had more size that I needed to put on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all I did was, since I was already in shape and I just want to get more stage experience, there was like another NPC regional show like 4 weeks later. So I just jumped in that too to get more stage experience, which I then found out that we needed to do an individual posing routine that I had no idea. For some reason, the Diana Classic, they didn't have us do it. Maybe there was just too many competitors and they were kind of like, more so in
Rushing.
a hurry. Yeah, so my second show, they're like, all right, you're going to go out there, do your individual routine, for prejudging. And I was like, my what? So I just to go out there and kind of freestyle. But I placed my first show second. The next show
Nice.
after that was third. And then I took another year off. I met a new coach, which was Janine's husband. You know Janine?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Marty.
One
So
one of the craziest back I've ever seen in women's physique.
crazy back. Yes, absolutely. So I met him and then we started coaching for nationals. And when I first walked in to meet him, he was like, you are women's bodybuilding. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm women's physique. He's like, my wife is an IFBB pro women's physique and you're like twice her size. So I was in denial at first, and I think everyone is a little bit afraid to like once you kind of like set your mark in a division and you've learned the posing and you've competed in that
You want
and
to
now
stick to
you're
that.
either moving up or moving down, whatever the case may be, it's like a little intimidating. So I was in denial at first, but then I think it wasn't until like 2 weeks out from USA's I was like, all right, let's do bodybuilding. So we switched over to bodybuilding. I competed at the USA's in 2017 and I got third place, I think, there.
Mm-hmm.
I did another show in Miami, which was nationals, which was in Miami at the time. And I think I placed fourth there. So I was always kind of like within the
Battling.
top five. Yeah, I was,
Yeah.
of course, always my conditioning that just wasn't like to par just yet. And I still needed some more size to really be balanced with my lower half.
Mm-hmm.
After that year, I went to the following year, and that was 2018. I did the Chicago. I did they have a qualifier there.
That's where you got your pro card?
Miss International.
Yes, well, I did 2018, and I got second there. Tina, you know Tina, women's bodybuilder.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so you might know.
Tina,
You know her, right?
Yeah, tall, really
Tall.
tall. Yeah. I can't think of her last name
So
right
she
now.
won. I know, I suck at names, I'm sorry. She won 2018, and I got second that year. And then I went the following year, and then I won my pro card that year.
So you had a good competitions prior to getting your pro card.
Yeah, absolutely. I did about 4 nationals before getting my pro card. Which to some people that's nothing. I've been going at it for 10 years, and for other people it's like I've done 1 and I got my pro card. So everyone has their own journey, I think, and it's important not to like compare yourself to others.
No, yeah.
But I do think that because of social media, because social media really it was around, but not as
much. Yeah,
not as much. That everyone's like in a rush, because of course I have posing clients that I pose for national shows, and it might be their first national show, and they'll come back like a little disappointed. They're like, oh, I got like first call outs, but 8th place, and I'm like, this is your first national show.
Exactly.
People try to just get first call outs for years, right? So I think perspective is a little different now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
The new
But
athletes
I love
don't understand the
doing this
grind.
because yeah. But now go ahead, Chelsea. But
I was just saying.
I
but
love
yeah, never mind.
that we're doing this. And maybe we're a little bit delayed on the audio, but I was saying that I love doing this because we get to actually know each other a little better. I mean, even though we've been friends for so many years, I didn't know a lot of stories that Chelsea told me in the first podcast that I did with her, and I didn't know anything about your beginnings either. So this is super cool.
And that's how we got started, and now we're here.
Yeah. But I recall watching you for the first time. I've seen before pictures here and there, but I remember watching you for the first time in Chicago. And I really liked your look, and I really loved your posing too. I think you got second, and you were already a pro at that time.
Was I pro already?
Yes, you were a pro.
Chicago. So it must have been a different show.
I don't quite recall who got...
No, it was Chicago. Yes, it was Chicago 2021.
It's so crazy. It feels like I've known you for so much longer.
Oh my God, I didn't even know.
Yes.
Were you there in person?
I was there in person.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know you then.
Yep, I know. Crazy.
I think
but yes, it was
Sheena. Sheena that won that year.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that show.
That's right. Yeah, you got second. You were so close to get. But I love to actually be able to witness your progression, because when we first met each other, I believe that you were not quite there mentally, and I can't say the same about myself. I think that Chelsea had a little bit of a different start. I think when she started, she was so decided already to really follow this path, because she really went hard, and she really went head in. And I think you and I, and correct me if I'm wrong, we were still kind of debating how much effort we would put in this, because we had some other stuff going on outside. You were a full-time at I don't recall where, but you were working in accounting, right?
Yeah, and HOA.
Yes. And I remember that. And we would meet each other at 5:00 to train after working, exhausted. And I remember your face. You were like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know."
Trying to push each other.
Yeah. So I am so thankful to you, because I got to go to the gym because you were there waiting for me. Because there were many times.
It does.
Yeah. There were many times that I was like, I would go home, but I don't like to be that person that's canceling, because
once I make a commitment, it's done.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree 100%. And I haven't trained with anyone else like that since after you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if many people know, but I really don't like to train with anyone too much, other than just specific people that I know are just going to train, or like Joey, because we don't even talk throughout the session, which I like. I don't like to like chit chat too much. I like to, if I can be at the gym for 45 minutes to an hour, get it done, do my cardio and go. That's totally me, versus like sitting there all day and chatting. And I feel like that's most of the time when you train with someone, either they're not on, your level, or they're not in the same training split, right? Because you might need to progress in different areas than I do. When you're at this level, I think your training becomes so precise. Like, I need to train biceps twice a week, and you might need to do shoulders and glutes, or whatever the case may be. So it's not that I don't love to train with you or Chelsea or et cetera, et cetera. It's just that we're all on a mission.
Right. And I think
it's good to do like every now and then, like, hey, let's grab, when are you doing legs? Okay, cool. Let's do a leg day together. But like to have week in, week out the same training session, it doesn't always work out when you need specific, body parts that you need to bring up.
Yeah. And I think with us, you didn't need as much legs as I did at the time.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like, okay, we're going to split
I was on an
a little
upper
bit
body
more.
mission.
Yeah. And I was on a full body mission.
Yes.
And eating.
So right now it's actually, since I trained with you, that was because I took that year off. I think that was when you competed in Omaha.
22, I think.
22. So I took that full year off.
Year.
Other than 2022,
Yes,
I trained 2023 and 2024 by myself. And then this year I started training again with Joey, which has been great.
That's awesome.
Definitely. You guys know Joey, he's intense.
Very intense.
He definitely, he pushes me and we just get it done. Like, there's no like chit chat in between other than like, let's go, add some weight, one more rep kind of thing. But other than that, we just like, yeah, pretty much. Yes. So
that was a third place rep.
Again.
Yeah, third place.
Sometimes you're like, especially when you're on prep, you don't want to think. You just kind of like want someone to push you through it is nice. So it should be interesting to see how this prep goes. Yeah, I know.
What did you say, Chelsea?
I said, that's me right now. Like, I don't want to think when I'm in the gym. I just want to do. So somebody just tell me, let me just follow. I'm feeling it today.
Yeah, absolutely. But Kristina, so what would you say that changed in your mindset and in your training and dieting, just all things related to bodybuilding? Since that time, you took the year off. Yeah. You had kind of a little bit, I wouldn't say that is nobody really to blame, but there was a situation between the previous coach and potentially not really paying much attention. So it kind of cost you a little bit some time to really. Yeah.
Never like to like fully blame it on a coach. Right. It's completely your responsibility to get you where you want to be. But of course, they are there to aid you in the right direction. Honestly, it wasn't like just like one thing that just kind of snapped. I think it's just I kind of grew up and like matured a little bit. And I was like, if I'm gonna dedicate my life basically and sacrifice and money and et cetera, like I'm either gonna go all in or it's not for me, right? And I do love the training. I love the stage. I love all of it. I think I just got better over time. Like just learning how to embrace the sucky parts of it and knowing that there is an end goal to that. It's temporary, right? So the pain is temporary. The outcome kind of like when you reach it and you see what your potential really can forecome, it's like, if it's worth it to you, then it makes it that much easier the next time to kind of push yourself through it.
That's interesting you say that because the other day I was training with Suzanne and she said something to me that it made me feel so ungrateful in a sense because I keep, thinking, wow, I've been competing. I know it hasn't been that long, but I've been competing I've been competing for a while and I never qualified. And I was telling her sometimes I don't know if I have it, like I haven't placed. Of course, there are so many things at play, not necessarily putting my head and going 100% in. Yeah. But when she mentioned her journey, she said, I started to get 4th place, 5th place. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm almost there. And in my mind, I was like, wow, I've got 2nd and 3rd so many times. And I never looked at that way. Yeah. Because we just think that it's just first place. Yes. But in reality, it's a progression of, each show is different. So you might get 3rd place in a very hard, show, or sometimes get 1st place and you're not completely in a very hard show. And then, so it's always a matter of really looking at it as like every year you're getting better.
Yeah. And again, it's also a subjective sport. Yeah. So we truly don't have control over where we place. All that we have control over is showing up at our best and being better than we were. So it's the amount of effort, right, that you put in. And only you know that.
Yeah.
Did you, were you 100% on your diet? Did you do all your cardio? Did you train when you were supposed to? Did you keep the promises that you made to yourself? And you show up on stage. It's weird. I think something switched with me last year. I don't know what it was, to be honest. But usually, and I'm sure many competitors are like, you try to see who's doing the show, or when the list comes out, you're like, okay, I know her. I don't know these people. So you start looking them up and trying to like, oh, damn, she looks good. And you start like stressing in your head. And when I was going into Tampa Pro, I just felt so good about the progression that I made, where I was, where my physique was, how my check-ins were going, all of that, etc. That I really just didn't care who showed up. It could have been anyone, right? And I was just happy and pleased with what I was going to showcase. And I think that changes a lot when you did everything and you're like pleased with your physique and you're prepared with presentation, posing, etc. Of course, we all want to win, but I think at the end of the day, if you show up and you present the best package to date, it's better than the last year, and your posing is on point, and you look back at the videos and the pictures and you're like, damn, that's me. Like, you cannot not be proud of that, because at the end of the day, like I said, this sport is subjective. So it can be whoever the judges favor that day. There's been times where it can go either way, right? At a show where they both look great and it's just not your day if you don't get chosen. But it doesn't mean, I always say you were a better bodybuilder that day, because you can show up at the next show and that person can beat you, right? With a new set of judges, a new set of eyes.
I mean, we see that a lot in the guys.
All the time.
You see guys winning, what is the name of the classic physique who won Arnold, and he was the next thing to beat Sebum.
Ramon? Was it Ramon maybe? Or,
no, it was Wes. Wes, right?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. I don't know how to say his name. From Germany?
Yes.
Okay.
He was the guy to go after Wes.
And he's still a great bodybuilder, but yes.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
But he went from first to beat the second in the world at the Arnold to then place, I think, second call out at Olympia.
Yeah. And that happens again with this sport and a lot of other sports, right? You can look amazing leading up to the show, which is why I have stopped this. And I always tell my clients and my friends, someone can look a picture 2 days out and they look ridiculous, right? Amazing. But this is the bodybuilding. One wrong meal, one wrong whatever, and they show up to stage and they don't look like that, right? So at the end of the day, it's how you show up to stage, not your pictures that you post on Instagram with the angles and the edits and etc. It's the moment you step on stage and then compared to the rest of the ladies or men that are there.
I think one big thing that can really change completely is playing with diuretics.
Yeah.
And that can change your physique. I remember when back in 2021, I had pictures of myself 2 weeks prior, and then I saw pictures of myself the day of my show, and I look like a completely different person.
Yeah, so you never. That's why you just never know, and it's like almost silly to like compare yourself to others, because any little thing can happen in that peak week leading into the show. It could be tan, it could be suit, it could be the littlest thing, and you're stressing out for no reason. So just like, I think the most important thing is you're in competition with yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a subjective sport, and you just have to just keep showing up, try to keep showing up better. Can something happen and you try something new and it not go in favor? Yes. And unfortunately, the sport is a lot of trial and error, right? So you might try to carb load or something different and it just not go for you, but you learn from that and then you move forward into the next one. So
yeah, I mean, we started touching a subject that maybe I want to talk to both of you guys and ask your opinions, because I get a lot of those questions. So in both of your experiences, like what dictates a good coach? Like basically when you are interviewing somebody, because I think that it makes a huge difference, right? What your team consists of. So is there a way that you guys interview this person? Is there like a must-have kind of thing, of why you would choose this particular person? I know that Chelsea probably had just one coach so far, which is great too.
And your pro, she has,
right? Chelsea or no?
I've had a few coaches over the years, but it was Hassan who took me pro.
In your pro career though, right? Just one in your pro
Yes.
career?
Yeah, but leading up to that, I had
Okay.
many coaches who were bad choices. Coaches who tried to put me on a lot
And
of
that's
gear
always,
when
it's usually always in the beginning.
yeah, this was, let's see, 2018. I was working with this coach. He is no longer here anymore. But he tried to put me on so much stuff. And thankfully, at the time, I had a boyfriend who was like, you are not doing this. And I didn't want to do these things anyways. But for someone who was close to me to say, hey, no, like, this is like your second show. You don't need to be doing these things, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's really important, I think, to ask around, ask other competitors their opinions of working with the coaches. And I also realize that detail is very important. I'm dealing with some lack of detail issues now with my coach, but who knows what will happen in the next season. If I might switch, find someone else who's a little bit more detailed, because I just feel like I'm in that part of my career where little extra things need to be even more perfected to help me reach another level, and I need that. So we'll see how it goes this year and, reassess. And we might be finding a new coach, but it's tough finding a coach. It really is, because it's like, okay, you ask other people their opinions, but how legit are those opinions?
Yeah, everyone has a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I
I
think it's
do
more so
agree
looking
that
at,
it's hard.
you just got to look at what they've produced and then ask, those people, and, feel it out for yourself if things don't click.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very important. At the end of the day, it is a pretty intimate relationship, whether you like it or not, right? You're truly getting to know your body inside and out, basically.
You're sending photos like basically in your underwear every other day,
Yes. Photos, talking about your bowel movements
Bowels,
and whatever, etc. So it is a very, very
periods, and
personal
all that.
relationship.
I just had diarrhea.
I think it has to be someone that, one, you connect with, that you feel that first initial call or whatever, however you guys link up, which should be a call. I don't think it should just be like on email or
No.
message, whatever. So that initial call, you should feel like at ease at least, right? I think you guys should be on somewhat of a same game plan of what it is that you're looking forward to, to do to progress your career. I think morals very important. For me, what caught my attention from my new coach now too was his faith. He is a Christian, which I am too, and that was important for me. It's kind of like when I was looking, I was like, he seems like he has very good morals. I've heard many good things about him. He believes in God, as I do, both Christians. He did work with a lot of females. That was very important for me. I think my past coaches were mainly males. And there is quite of a difference with the female hormones and knowing how to work with a female versus a male. I think honestly, most of his clients are female. I would say, I don't know if I'm wrong, but it looks like at least like 80% of them are female. So that was another thing. Looking at stage pictures, did they still look feminine? Were they conditioned? How did they look after their shows? Did they stick with the coach? Did they still look healthy, et cetera, et cetera? Those things too caught my attention.
That's
But
important.
I
Yeah.
think with him, the most important thing was his belief in me, right? It wasn't just about like clout. It was just he believed in me every step of the way. He reassured me. I'm not a very, excuse me, needy client. I don't need to like be checked on every day. I'm pretty good, but it's like those check-ins, he just kind of reassures me. And then without me even asking, like leading into the show, it was just like after every meal, hey, did you get that meal in? Hey, how's your digestion? I didn't have to be like, hey, what's my next meal? It was very consistent, very on top of it.
That's good.
Yeah, so I think that was the biggest thing for me, and I think for most people, is just find someone that believes in you. You shouldn't, in my past coaches, I feel like I was always trying to like gain that reassurance or that like acceptance. Like, tell me I'm doing good, or like, I don't know, just wanting to be believed in kind of thing. So I think that was a big thing for me with my new coach now that I was able to meet. And the best thing was that he's super kind of low key. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like a big coach that has a lot of clout, which I think is a downfall for a lot of people. They see, a coach that just is working with tons of great pros. I think it's more important to see coaches that have turned an athlete into that great athlete, right? Not just working with them when they're already at that level, if
And
that
the
makes
ones that
sense.
don't have a lot of turnovers, that's a
Yeah,
red flag too.
yeah, absolutely. Like that's yeah, what I said. Have they stayed with the same coach for years, show after show? And that was a big thing for me. So it was that initial conversation that we had. We were like on the same game plan,
Mm-hmm.
and he's never missed a beat. I
That's
can't ever
awesome.
say that he dropped the ball. So very happy with him, and we're on our second year, and I'm excited.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's so important because a lot of people they make the mistake to go after the big coaches, which
Mhm.
again, it's not a matter of dictating if they're big or not, and then it would be like no, because he has a lot of athletes, no, then we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want. No,
absolutely
it's
not.
not. But it's important to see the progression, right? If this person has been with a particular coach for a long time, they have been
Yeah,
progressing. And then not only what you see outside on social media, but then your own relationship with your coach,
that's the
like
main thing.
yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna know if he responds to your messages or not
Yeah,
because it's irrelevant to post that on Instagram. I responded to my clients every day. No, but you will know as soon as you start working with that person the level of attention that you're getting, and that's very important. And
yes,
to keep
yes,
it, could you keep it professional too? Because
absolutely.
I had issues prior to, and maybe because of the way that I am, I'm very playful. I've always had, uh, for me, it's
Free
easy.
spirit.
Yes. So I made the mistake to sometimes, thanks. I made the mistake to sometimes to just become friends, and you have to have a little bit. And I think that's one of
That
the things that
line.
you spoke about too when we talked about Dom, and you were like, you are one of my
Yes.
best friends. And, I don't know how that's going to
Yeah.
be. And I like that. But at the same time, it
Yes.
could go either way. But I
Yeah,
believe that
absolutely.
regardless, it has to be a very professional relationship that you guys really have that as the primary relationship, that's like you are
Absolutely.
my coach.
I actually had people, I don't want to mention her name to put her out there, but she like reached out to me and said, "Hey, what do you think about Dom? I'm thinking of prepping with him. Just want to pick your brain. Like, why don't you prep with him?" And that was my reason. I'm like, well, we're very close. We're best friends. I'm like, at the end of the day, it is, somewhat of a business relationship a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, and anything can go wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't want that to disrupt, the relationship that we have. So I still pick it.
I always joke with Dom. I say, babe, I think that Christina knows that if we go out to have a glass of wine, he would be like, go ahead and drink it. That's not good for your muscles. Yeah, yeah, go
I
ahead
mean,
and drink it. How you
he
go-
still does that. He still does that now, and I'm just like,
I know.
no.
But I
But I
think you know
still
who
I
you're
pick his
talking
brain.
about, and she's actually with us now.
Yes,
Yes.
I know him. So I still pick his brain till this day, right?
Yeah.
About multiple things. He's a genius. So it's like I
Always
still
willing
have
to
him
help too.
there to
Mm-hmm.
help me with questions. He's more than willing, and I absolutely refer him to a lot of people because I do, interact with a lot of competitors as opposing coach.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone does ever ask, he's definitely on my top as a coach to recommend.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate
is
that.
nothing because he's not someone that I would choose if
Mm-hmm.
we weren't friends, maybe. But
I don't think I want that option.
since we're so close, I just didn't think it was. I like to keep a little bit separate of that
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah. But
I have a question
but
for
yeah,
you,
so I
Amanda, really
think
quickly.
again,
I
yeah,
have
of
a question
course.
for you. How
Mm-hmm.
is it being with your partner who coaches you? Does that affect the relationship at all,
Ooh,
or does it
I've
make
been
it
there. I
quite
couldn't do it.
challenging, or do you find that it's better because you have someone who's there constantly keeping you accountable, keeping you on the ball, that type of thing?
For me, it was a blessing. I'm not gonna lie, because I was not really in love with bodybuilding prior to Dom, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I had some situations. I was in a very bad relationship before that, and this particular person made me believe that what I was doing was not for women. I've heard literally the words bodybuilding is not for women from that person. And maybe because I was really it was really at the beginning, and I know you both of you guys probably already went through that too, where you have so many comments of people really putting you on a pedestal and saying, wow, you look amazing, but you also have a lot of people that say you look like a dude, your voice is getting, hard, and all these things. Having, and then my mother too, I don't want to go too much into this rabbit hole, but it's is relevant. But my mother too was not very supportive at the beginning because she never, Brazil, it's now the bodybuilding mecca too, but
But when you don't know about it, you just think the stereotype
yeah,
of like,
and
you turning into a quote unquote man.
man, so she had no idea what was going on, right? So I was also hearing her having all of these questions, and so I was like, I think, I don't know, maybe this not for me. So anyway, when I met Dom, and Dom is very well known in the industry as a very, he's not only a coach, but he's a very good guy and he has a lot of friends in the industry. So I was fortunate to be surrounded by people,
Positivity.
yes, that were like,
Uplifting.
holy shit, I love your physique. You're
Yeah.
gonna kill it. Oh, you just need an off season. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where was everybody? Where were you guys?
Yeah.
And but anyway, so it was a blessing for me because he made me believe that
In yourself.
myself, and like, this is awesome. Like, so when he started to coach me, we actually had a little bit of a conversation of like, would it be better if one of my friends coaches you and I oversee, like, whatever makes you feel more comfortable, because I don't want this to be a problem. And he even named a few people that he trusts. I remember because I was like, I don't know, I really want to make sure that we come first as a
Yes.
couple. And so he gave me a few names of people that he trusts, and he said, hey, I'm still gonna be there because this boy, I trust him and he's my boy, and we worked together for a long time. But at the same time, because Dom really loves bodybuilding so much and he never really got to turn pro, but because he was his choice to stop and really dedicate himself and focus on coaching, because it's impossible to do that with over 100 clients, and then all of a sudden you're on a diet and it's crazy. So I saw his excitement of living bodybuilding through me, even though he does that already with all of his clients. But when it's your girl,
Yeah.
so the level of attention and dedication was something I've never experienced before, of like me up at 1 o'clock in the morning to finish my last meal and make me see things that I didn't want to listen. Like, I was I don't want to say I thank God, because I know what being an alcoholic really is, and I've seen that before in people's lives. I'm not
Yeah.
even near that, but I love to
You're a
drink.
social drinker.
I love to drink wine
Yeah.
every fucking weekend, and I was drinking every weekend. I was still killing in the gym, but he was like, dude, this is not cool. You're a professional athlete right now. How are you going to do this? So it's like, he made me see a lot of things that I didn't want to see it. And it was so easy for me because I was alone at home. So I'm like,
Yeah.
who cares? Now I have somebody who is made me be a little bit more militant. And there were a lot of things I didn't want to hear, but I had to. Like, for example, he put pictures of me together next to each other, and he's a New Yorker, half Italian. He doesn't give a fuck. He says whatever, and I love that about him because he's so real. He's so raw.
He's so blunt.
Yeah, and he looked at the pictures and he just kind of slipped his mouth. He's like, "Wow, this is like the worst progression ever. Like, there is no progression. Like, what is this? Like, you never got better." And I was like, "Damn, yeah, you're right." It was hard for me to hear that, but it's not because I'm not capable of. It's because I wasn't doing anything.
You weren't in it
eating.
100%.
Yeah, I wasn't eating. I mean, Chelsea knows. Like, we used to work together, and I would go all day long.
She would
just
eat like
doing
a handful of
and
almonds
flexing.
and a glass
Almonds
of
and
wine.
wine.
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
I
And if you
know.
can get in that kind of shape with, not even being in it 100, it was just
Yeah.
like he knew the potential that you had, and he would get just flustered when you would do things to hinder it,
Yeah.
right? So
And
it came from love.
Yes. So to answer your question, Chelsea, it was a blessing to me. I'm not gonna lie that it's easy but I don't really look at it as much. But it's more of a blessing than hard. But it becomes a little hard, and just to mention just a few things is that because he is constantly watching me, I feel like I can't really miss a beat, and it becomes a little bit, yeah, it's stressful because sometimes I guess you need a little bit of like I needed to relax for a second, like I needed to maybe I'll skip the gym today, and he's there kind of just to remind me. But again, it's a good thing. It's a
Again,
good thing.
yeah,
It's a good thing.
yes.
It's a good
I
thing.
have to say that's a blessing that I have Joey to not to coach me, but
Right,
But
but to
as
be
he
another
your
is
eye,
definitely a second eye and someone to push me like no other. We still, even when he's not coaching me, he'd be like, "Did you drink all your water?"
yeah.
And then I'd be like, "I heard you. Okay, I'm not gonna remind you again. All right." Like, so he's definitely still on top of me, but I do like to separate it a little bit by having a coach. But let me tell you, he was on that conference. He was on that consultation call with me,
I know. That's awesome.
asking most of the questions.
But I think in both of you guys can testify this. I think I actually know what is the hardest part. And this is also comes from love and it's good, but it's hard. He wants to see me succeed. Joey
Yeah.
wants to see you succeed. Matt wants to see you succeed. We all know what it takes.
Yeah.
What really takes is freaking dedication, discipline, being on top of your diet and training, and a little sprinkle of something that we all know what it is.
selfishness. Yeah, yeah.
So now both of them, no, you're right. But that comes with, okay, I want you to succeed, but fuck, you're my girl. What is it too
Yeah.
much? Like
Yeah.
in my because genetics is not just having a small waist and large shoulders. Genetics is how is your ability to metabolize and be able to use these drugs and not really cause any harm. Some people have worse than others. Like for example, Levy had her cycle 4 weeks after the Olympia. I've never seen an athlete of that caliber to have a cycle after 4 weeks. I haven't had my cycle in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And it affects
So
everyone
Really.
differently.
with that knowledge, Dome knows that some of these PEDs will be worse for me than it would be for you, Kristina, or you, Chelsea. And so how can a coach that it's like, yeah, let's fucking do it, let's go to the Olympia, and at the same time being like, I love you and this is not good for you, babe.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think it is a good thing to have that
Yeah. Yeah.
because he cares about you more than the trophy at the end of the day. And
Yes.
I think even if it's not a husband, a coach
A coach
should.
should be. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. I agree.
And I was gonna say another thing that I forgot about a good coach is someone willing to listen. Meaning, like, if you tell them, I don't do good, I'm just gonna give an example. I don't do good on chicken, I get bloated, or I can't do Stairmasters after leg days because they get inflamed, or whatever the case may be, for them to like take that information and try to
Do
work
work
with it
around it. Yes.
versus just like, no,
Suck
no,
it up
no,
and do it.
yeah, suck it up and do it, or it's okay if you're inflamed, just keep doing the cardio. So it's like at the end of the day, we know our body more than anyone else, and it has to be, a coach has to be able to willing to listen to what you're telling them. If they don't and they're just kind of brushing it aside, maybe they don't really know what they're doing or don't really care.
And it also becomes dangerous if a coach is not detailed and really pay attention because he might leave you on drugs for a long time and he might not even remember.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've seen
I
that
always
happen
try to
before.
leave a note.
Absolutely.
I always leave notes in my check-ins, so like
Good.
so that it's known. I'm like, okay, we're this many weeks
Yes.
out, been on this. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, check-ins should be 100%
Detailed.
specific, detailed. Of course, everyone is human,
Yeah.
but it is important. And as a competitor athlete, you have to be also responsible to speak up to when things aren't comfortable or whatever the case maybe is. Not just like this is what it says, so I'm just going to do it. You're the one that's living with it, so if something's not sitting right, whether it's food, whatever supplements, whatever it is, you have to speak up, right?
Yeah,
And if
100%.
they brush it off, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for both of you guys. How do you guys, I already know the answer, but I'm sure people want to know. How do you guys feel when you're both getting ready? So let's say it didn't happen this year, but
No,
eventually will happen that you guys are
this
both
is gonna
getting ready.
happen this year.
Yes, they're both are going to get ready for the Olympia and you guys are going to compete against, each other. Do you ever note that? It's like, do you look at it differently? Like, especially for
No.
you, Christina, because you pose with Chelsea.
Yeah. I don't, and a good example is Hunter Henderson, right? I posed her all the way up into the Olympia.
Yeah.
Of course, we're still competition. Do I want to place good? Do I want to win? Absolutely. But I don't think like lighting, I'm going to use the quote, lighting someone else's candle is going to dim yours.
Yeah.
Again, this is a subjective sport. We all have different physiques. We all present them differently, whether I help you pose or not. It's like, we all bring a different character to the stage, and it's going to be with the judge's favor.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't, you can't, it's not like MMA that you can study somebody's, skills
No,
and fight style and then go after. You can't do anything in bodybuilding. It's
it's
like
you
really you.
just making sure that you show up, better at the best that you can, and that's all that you can do. If the
Mm-hmm.
judges favor that look that day, awesome. If they don't, then it is, what it is, which is why I always say you're a better bodybuilder that day. Because anything can happen. She can look amazing and mess her peak up, and I nail my peak. There's nothing she can do at that moment, or, vice
Vice
versa.
versa. Yeah.
No, yes, I'm competitive, but I don't look at her differently, or like, I'm not going to pose her anymore. I'm going to tell her to do something retarded, not retarded. I forget you can't really use that word anymore, but I'm going to have her do something.
That's
I'm going to
We're
have
okay.
her
We
do
don't
MAGA
something
shame.
people
like
here, don't
funky,
worry.
make her look worse. She already knows. I tell her, I'm like, what her strong suits are, what we're not. I'm like, this is the pose for you. You better freaking do it. And we posted it, and everyone agrees, I think.
Yeah, that
So
that
I'm
picture.
I'm
Yeah,
honestly there to, at the end of the day, I want this division to grow.
exactly.
So I don't see it any differently. Yes, I want to beat Chelsea on stage, but if she wins, I'm not gonna not be her friend. You know what I mean? If she
Exactly.
wins, I'm like, that's great for my business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
It's a win-win for
Exactly.
everyone.
So
I
yeah,
feel
But
the
yeah.
I
same
don't
way.
I don't see it any different. The
Yeah.
same thing with Hunter. I'm like, can she beat me? Absolutely. But I mean, all I can do is show my best on that stage. And if I can have myself and clients all battling for, in that top 5, that would be freaking epic, I think.
Yeah,
That's
I
how I
like
see it.
that.
I
That's
know other
awesome.
people see it a little bit different. I'm sure if you're maybe fighting for like if you're already the champ and you're, fighting for that title again, it might be a little bit more intense because of the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But at this moment, I'm not at that
Mm-hmm.
point. I still, of course, am competitive. I want to get in that. My goal is in that top 3 this year. But no, I don't think
I love
lighting
that.
this candle is ever gonna like dim mine. So
I love that.
that's it for me. Yeah.
How about you, Chelsea?
I agree. I
What she
mean,
said.
basically the exact same thing because our class, women's bodybuilding, I feel like we are all very friendly. We all talk to each
Yeah.
other. I know I do. I talk to all of the girls when we're backstage. I'm shooting the shit with everybody. I'm having a good time. Like, because at that point, it's like there's no reason for like
We all did the
animosity.
work.
Exactly.
Yeah. We
Like,
all did the
I
work. We're all here.
yeah, I want to see my friends succeed, but I mean, I also want to win too. So at the end of the day, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
And I
subjective
think,
sport, like you said.
yes. And I think we all know that, we all know that we didn't show up to just have fun.
Lose.
We all know that we all want to win.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
It's just the name of the
it's up to
game,
the judges. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Talking about speaking to all competitors is interesting because I am surrounded by women's bodybuilders, and that's why sometimes I come back home, I'm like, I'm so small. But I know I'm growing. But it's interesting because I used to be way more into speaking to everyone in the backstage and kind of being a puppy, like, oh my gosh, I'm just starting. This is so awesome. Now I'm a little bit more like really, I really like. I want to put my music on, and I'll say hi to you. If you say hi to me, there is no like bad feelings or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that is, it's almost like there is a different like spiritual like
You're in
surrounding
your
me that I'm
zone.
like in my zone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
And
think,
I feel that it can, if I have an interaction with somebody, because some people don't really take peak week or the day of the show really well, you can
yeah.
feel the anxiety. They're like,
Yes. Yes.
and they're walking around and like going all crazy, and I cannot have that rub on me.
No, no, yeah.
Now, I've had
You have to learn how to deal with situations and people. You have to be able to like read them.
yeah,
I think everyone, during prejudging is a little like quieter and like,
Yeah.
not standoffish, but like just more in their zone, which is completely fine. I think we all get it.
hmm
Um, yeah, and that's that. But no, I agree. You have to be, at the end of the day, it's still a competition.
yeah,
So we want everyone to do good. We want to all have fun, but we also want to win. So
want to
it
fuck
is, I
everybody
think,
up.
I would not take it a wrong way if someone was in there. So I'm not going to be like, what's her problem? No.
Hi. I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not here to say hi to you. I'm here
I
to.
think, I think that's silly, but I'm also someone that doesn't get like in my feelings like that.
No, no, you,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. Again, it's just different
personalities.
personalities,
hmm
So
Chelsea, do
if
you
I don't
have?
say hi to you backstage, it's not, no offense to anyone.
No offense to anyone. Yeah. Do you have any questions from people on Instagram?
Yeah. We could go to my
I
rapid
don't know
fire
how big my biceps are.
questions.
I'm just kidding.
You don't know what?
That is
How
always,
big?
that was a question asked
How
many,
much do
many
you
times.
bench?
I don't bench.
Well, there was one question that I did want to ask that somebody had
That stood out.
asked. It was something along the lines of, was what you did growing up, so like dancing and all that. Obviously, it translated over into your posing business, right? So, how did that all get started?
The posing business?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So super freaking random.
Alistair!
It wasn't even my idea. Of friend of mine in the gym, Lulu. You know Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big old booty.
She actually was just like, I guess, a fan of mine, right? From competing. And she wanted to do her first show. At the time, she thought she was going to do women's physique. She's now in wellness. But, anyways, she thought she was going to do women's physique. So she, like, pulled me aside and said, hey, can you, like, show me how to pose? And I'll pay you or whatever. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Why not? So we did that. And I was like, I love this. This is awesome. So I made this, like, random little story on my Instagram and I posted it. And then I had, again, I suck at last names, Jason.
He was your first picture on Instagram because I started following you right away, and I was like, oh my
Yes, I
gosh,
forget
I'm
his
like the
name,
first
his
to
last
like.
name. He's dating Renee.
Oh, Chelsea knows. Chelsea
Jason
used to be.
Coley.
Yes, Jason Coley. Okay,
My
so
old
he reached
roommate.
out to me and was like, regarding that post, and he was like, hey, can I take some posing sessions with you? I kind of want like a feminine, touch to it because sometimes guys are just so,
Robotic.
stiff, I guess, robotic. Yeah, there you go. And I was like, absolutely. So we started posing together. I had Joey jump in, of course, because I was still new to like the men's division. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very feminine and girly, so I was like, I don't want to put too much femininity into like a men's routine. Joey jumped in. It just automatically, like instantly, just became like this passion. As we say, Joey's very intense, but yet he has a lot of connections too in the industry. I feel he's been competing for quite some time. So we just started kind of like promoting it, posting it, and slowly but surely it just grew. And I think obviously my posing skills with all divisions have progressed over the time, just like anything else in a business. I legit live through my clients because I love bikini. I absolutely love posing wellness. I love figure, like I love the extra sass that we get to add in women's bodybuilding, but not fully to that extent.
Yeah.
So I just like live through them with creating these routines and then like just watching them progress or even just watching them transform when it's like a really beginner. And then now they're doing all these transitions or winning overalls or whatever the case may be. And you see the confidence boost. So that's how that started. And then we're going on our
Third
I think this
year.
is our third year. Yes.
You guys blew up
And
so quick. It's amazing.
yeah, we did lots of hard work. We were both working full time, both prepping for a show, both training. You remember, Amanda, I think we were still training together at that time. And I'm like, I have to hurry up and finish. I got 2 clients after this.
Yes.
So it would be leaving the house at 7 a.m. and getting back home at like 8:30, 9 p.m., having to cook, and do it all over again. So it was a lot of hustle and bustle in the beginning. And then I think I was 4 weeks out from Chicago 2023 that I decided to quit my job and do this full time. And I told Joey, what's the worst thing that can happen if it, doesn't succeed and, we need to extra money and I need to go back to work? So be it.
Yeah.
I get another accounting job. It's not that serious. But if we don't take this leap of faith, we won't know. Because I was having to reject a lot of inquiries because I just didn't have the time. I had, very limited time limit to get maybe 2 clients in a day.
Yeah.
So we took that leap of faith, and I've been working for myself since July of 2023.
That's amazing. I love
I
it.
remember that.
Yeah.
I love that the 3 of us we work in the industry. It's still, even as our career, Chelsea became a photographer and still building, having even more of an exposure. It was amazing to even see her with the credentials at the Rising Phoenix. I was like, what the fuck?
The moment I saw Chelsea, I think she edited a video for you or something, or a photo. I DM'd her and I said, you have an eye
in
for
fact,
this.
let me see.
You did, yeah.
Chelsea,
I've worked
I
with
remember
I've worked with a few photographers, and I'm like, some people just, you can get, very good quality photos, but it's you have to have this
the
eye
eyes.
for the edits and the right angles. And
She has 7,000 followers. I remember when she had 100.
Yes.
Hey,
and
that
I remember
blew
it
up
was just
fast.
you. It was just Amanda at
That
first.
blew up fast. That was only me.
It did.
She even changed. She posted me as the profile picture, and I was like, this bitch changed my picture.
I did.
It
But I'll
did.
change it back once we get some dope shit of you, Amanda. But okay.
I know.
I have
I'm
some
so
rapid fire
this is so
questions.
amazing.
Okay, Kristina.
Uh-oh.
Just a few of them.
scared.
So, sweet or savory?
Sweet.
What is your dream
Of course.
vacation spot?
Anything tropical.
Okay.
Brazil.
Anything where I can lay on the beach, have a drink. Sorry, Dom. And just get my toes wet and just kind of relax.
Me too. Beach. What
And
would
eat
you be
some cheese.
doing if you weren't doing what you're doing now?
Good question. I don't know. I think I would be. I like teaching. It's weird. I like before even posing, and when I lived in Miami, I was doing personal training a lot. I love helping someone progress. So I don't know what it would be, what category, but I think just helping someone progress in whatever they were trying to get better at. So I found my niche in posing. I love to see, again, like I said, the transformations, the confidence that they gain within each session. So I think teaching of some sort.
Perfect. What is one of your top training songs right now?
Anything rap and hip hop.
Okay.
I like old school hip hop, so Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, Meek Mill.
Okay. And final, cheat meal of choice.
I'm pretty basic.
You're bougie.
Berries.
It depends. Is this cheat meal during off season or cheat meal during prep?
Let's do off season and in prep.
Okay, so if I'm in prep, it's either going my go-tos, if I even get one, it's either going to be sushi or a burger and fries. If I'm in the off season, it's probably going to be I want to go out somewhere. So it's either going to be a steakhouse like Barry's or Steak Puppy because they have the lobster mac and cheese and the desserts and all that stuff. So a little bit of everything, I think. Or I do like some good pupusas. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Hispanic food. It's kind of like an arepa with stuffed with cheese and chorizo and beans.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's
Love it.
that's what I like.
Are you already at that phase, Chelsea, that you're like, fuck, like I kind of miss being off season and eat whatever?
No, it's kind of different this year because I just had that whole year off that like I'm
Yes.
Yeah.
not really at that mode of like craving anything. If I was to crave anything, it would be all Hulu's fault because every fucking time Hulu has a commercial, it's for BJ's, Pazookies, and every commercial. And
Oh,
I'm like, dude,
BJ's. That's a good
yeah,
spot.
I'm like a
We,
Pazookie sounds
I think we went
good.
there after Tampa.
We did, yeah.
I think you
Wait,
were
no,
with us, right? After
we were at
Tampa, we
we went to.
went. Oh no, we went
I
to
thought we
Cheesecake,
Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, right.
which
It
was
was
bomb.
cheesecake. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
it.
Yes.
I called you.
yeah.
I totally forgot to mention that in my cheat meals. After like the food, it's always gonna be either on the off season, it'll be like cheesecake or
Gotta have your
cookies.
sweet treat.
In season, I don't get anything sweet.
Me either.
So
Gotta
it's
get cheat
sushi or
meals.
burger and fries.
I don't know why I'm craving like Indian food. Somebody
Oh,
talked to me.
that's such a Joey thing.
Somebody
I like
told me
it, I
about
don't love
naan and like curry and then Persian food. I was like, yeah. So
No,
I'm
thank
kind
you.
of there.
I'm
I could
down.
go for some Meraki right now.
I wish. Yes. Greek food.
Yeah.
Well, ladies,
Love me some
it
Meraki.
passed an hour and but this is so good. It was so good. I didn't even see the time.
I know, me neither. Love you guys. Felt like I was just talking
Love
to
you.
two of my friends. But now you're gonna
What's
post it on the
up?
internet for the world to see.
Yes, I'm back at Dragon, so I might see you guys today there.
Are you training tonight?
Yeah, I'm training at 4 p.m. with Susan.
Okay, so I'll be there while you guys are like probably mid. I'll be there like around 5.
Okay.
My rest day
Perfect.
today.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
See you all.
Bye.
End this, so